Although we did also speak to her neighbors today who told us something about her just seemed off.
You think? Jesus Christ. You know, she said she was going to go down to the police station and shout it up, but I just, I didn't really, give me a break. Scare the shit out of those cops. I guarantee you, this is a first for these cops. To fire in their own station. They're being attacked. How often does that happen?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer. Along with our content genius, Michael Rivers, who's behind the camera. And basically, he's, the man behind the plan. Basically, I'm his puppet. I'm just a vessel through which he works. So today we're reacting to craziness, just craziness. Before we get into craziness, this is brought to you by eSign.com. eSign.com, a very effective way to remotely do business. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you decide to go into a police station and shoot the hell out of it. Guess what? You're going to need to sign over all your assets because you're crazy. So you go to eSign.com, you download the app, you get 3 free signatures a month. Guess what you do? You sign away your power of attorney because you cannot control a thing because you're in custody. I use it all the time. I have people sign like medical releases, when building up a case or retainer agreements. It's a great way to effectively and remotely do business. And I implore you to use the products that support this show. If you like this show, support our advertisers. Anyway, so eSign.com, effective way to remotely do business. So in Bristol, Connecticut, on Thursday, October 5th at approximately 11:30 p.m., which everybody should be in bed or just about to be in bed. You should have your silk jammies laid out for you. You should have your warm milk has already been drank, and you should be ready for bed. A lone female, later identified as 51-year-old Suzanne LaPrice, entered the lobby of Bristol Police Department at 131 North Main Street. She approached the front lobby desk office window and banged on the window with a handgun. Yes, that's right. She went into the police station and banged down the bulletproof glass with a handgun. Let's just get to the video. Is not terribly long, but it does raise a bunch of issues. First of all, first in the frame when she gets in here, at 1 second in the frame, it looks like she's got the gun pointed at her head. Suicide by cop is a thing, and it's nothing to laugh at. And somebody with mental health problems is nothing to laugh at. But sometimes in the criminal defense world, we do laugh at things, and because some of the stuff we see is so horrific, you can't help but laugh because you just can't even believe it. Okay, now you walk into a police station with a gun out. Why would you do that? And you know what? And this is why you have bulletproof glass at a police station. Now, I don't think she's coming to bitch about a parking ticket. I'm just guessing. And thank God thank God it was at a time where there's nobody else in the lobby. I don't think there's any sound with this, which is kind of tragic. She looks to be in her 30s, I would bet. 30s, maybe 40s. So to walk into a police station with your handgun out, that only says one thing: shoot me. Shoot me, I want to die. That's really what that says. It just says, shoot me, I want to die. There's no other reason for somebody to do that. And this is why the police department has bulletproof glass. Oh, there we go. That was the first shot right there. That gun is a semi-automatic handgun. Probably holds anywhere from 8 to 15 rounds, depending upon what kind of gun it is. So that's one shot. Oh, she's getting ready for battle here. She puts the gun down. Oh, she's got her cigarette. Gotta have your cigarette. By the way, you guys, none of you should smoke. Because this is what happens when you smoke. Now, here's the other thing. So there will be cameras. Obviously, there are cameras in there because we're watching this right now, right? But there are also speakers and microphones that are in this lobby area. So somebody from another part of the station can be talking to her. And it looks like she's got the gun kind of to her head. These are really cries for help, honestly. I mean, they're super fucking dangerous, but they're just cries for help. And she puts the gun back to her head. It's sad, really, when you think about it. I mean, what would drive somebody to do that? You know, what would drive somebody to be that desperate that they go down to the police station with a gun and start firing into the bulletproof glass?
There's already guys with it.
There we go.
We got cars going.
Brian, do not move. Do not move, Brian. Are these windows bulletproof?
Shots fired.
So the officers are asking and I think they're probably talking about the doors that she's shooting at right now.
Are these windows bulletproof?
We got 2 cars going off to the front.
So that sounds like them firing back.
That's her right here, right? Laptop, yep. Get down! Get down on the ground!
And tell me the cops' adrenaline isn't at high alert at this point.
Can you see her, Spence? Nope, she just went back. Get down on the ground! Okay, she just went to the right.
I have the gun in her hand right now.
Brian. Okay, go!
It's amazing when you have a situation like that and somebody doesn't die. And I think I've told you this a bunch of times, but I had a client who drew down on some cops, and holy crap. I mean, he went to go buy a gun in the morning and told his daughter, call the cops because your dad's going to die today. And he wanted to die suicide by cop. And he goes to Walmart, half in the bag, buys a rifle, goes back to his house, fires the gun off in his field, and the cops come, they shut down the highway, and he fires at him. And they're kind of in his barn, and 2 shots hit the frame of the barn, and then it jams, and then they tackle him. Holy shit, how does that guy not die?
Everyone good?
Yep.
Good.
Bristol, get a 17.
There's already guys with it. We got cars going.
Brian, do not move. Do not move, Brian. Are these windows bulletproof?
Shots fired.
So he's firing back at her, but it's not doing anything because the windows are bulletproof. You know, she couldn't shoot in, and they can't shoot out.
Are these windows bulletproof?
We got 2 cars going off to the front.
I guarantee you, this is a first for these cops to fire in their own station. They're being attacked. How often does that happen?
That's her right here, right? Laptop, yep. Get down! Get down on the ground! Can you see her, Spence? Nope, she just went back. Get down on the ground! Okay, she just went to the right.
I have the gun in her hand right now.
Brian. Okay, go!
Clearly a psych problem. Clearly a psych problem. And we'll talk about that on the other side of this real quick.
Everyone good?
Yep, good.
Scare the shit out of those cops. So when you look at the kind of charges that somebody would face under something like this, there's a couple different aspects of something that's going on here. Number one, is she competent to stand trial? So the first thing, any defense lawyer would do is do what they call a Rule 20, or, every state's got their version of a competency examination. Then you also do a Rule 21, which is, even if you're competent to stand trial, were you laboring under a mental health condition that you didn't really know right from wrong at the time? And so she clearly is laboring under some kind of mental health stress. Whether it's enough to say it's a defense is a completely different subject. Now let's see what the news had to say about her court appearance later.
And today we learned that Suzanne LaPrise is a mother of 3. She volunteers at her local church and she works to help the elderly. Although we did also speak to her neighbors today who told us something about her just seemed off.
You think? Jesus Christ. She said she was going to go down to the police station and shut it up, but I just, I didn't really, give me a fucking break. Of course something seemed off. Then why didn't you do something? If you encounter somebody that's in distress like that, do something about it. Don't just sit on the fucking sidelines and wait until they pop a gasket and all of a sudden guess where they wind up. Do something. Try to lend a hand or call the cops. Because sometimes law enforcement involvement saves lives. It really does. Not all the time. I just whipped up a cop today on the stand, and that was pretty fun, actually.
She is the neighbor that always would wave, but wouldn't say anything, but she was kind of creepy.
This is the welcome mat outside the Plainville apartment of 51-year-old Suzanne LaPrise.
So she's the kind of neighbor that would wave, and she's really kind of creepy neighbor. Well, seems to me that the creepy neighbors do creepy shit.
Spraying bullets at officers from her high-capacity magazine.
That's honestly...
So a high-capacity magazine probably means 15 bullets or so.
LaPrise, who was allegedly drunk and high at the time, was arraigned in New Britain Superior Court.
Drunk and high at the time doesn't help you. It's better if she was completely sober and just out of her mind. If you're drunk and high, what happens with that is you wind up being voluntarily intoxicated, and that's not a defense.
Shabusiness.
Yeah, shabusiness. Yeah, remember Miss Shabusiness, who that was killing and dismembering her boyfriend seemed to be her shabusiness?
Standing beside her public defender, we learned more about her.
She's a mother of 3 adult children, including her 33-year-old son, who has Down syndrome. She is his main care provider. She feeds him, she dresses him, she gives him his insulin that he needs every day, and she also has experience doing this because, as she indicated to me, she spent 21 years of her life working for the Connecticut Department of Development.
Now, Man Bun here is just really trying to tell you, she's a good woman, and she really, you should let her out on bail. She's not a risk of flight, and she's not really a risk to the community, just to cops in their own station. Give me a fucking break.
Services.
LaPrise was most recently working part-time at an adult day center.
Now let's take a look at Miss LaPrise. Boy, she's got a nice shiner there. How the fuck do you think she got that? And she's got a little... goose egg on her forehead. That probably happened when the cops took her down.
So alarming that the judge required her to post 30% of her $1 million bond in order to get out. She's facing a slew of criminal felony charges.
All right, so let's look at her charges. Criminal attempted murder with special circumstances, i.e. law enforcement. Illegal discharge of a firearm, who cares? Illegal carry of firearms under the influence of drugs and alcohol, who cares? Criminal use of a weapon, who cares? Violation of a pistol requirements, who cares? Illegal possession of large capacity magazine, who cares? Criminal mischief, first degree, well, that could be something. Reckless endangerment, first degree, maybe a little bit of something. Breach of the peace, who cares? So basically, the 2 big ones are the criminal mischief, because the first degree, because that could be a decent one, and the attempted murder with special circumstances. That's probably the most important one. So when you look at what they're trying to do here, they're doing a bail argument, basically. And remember what I said on bail, it's 2 things. It's risk of flight, danger to the public. She may not be a risk of flight because she's got ties to the community, she's employed, she's a mother of 3, she volunteers for the elderly, and she shoots at cops. So the last one is probably danger to the public. Clearly she is a danger to the public.
LaPrise told her public defender she probably suffers from mental health issues.
You think? You think she might suffer from some mental... You have to... You can't not... You can't not laugh at some of this because some of it's just so fucking crazy. It's so out there. It's you and I wouldn't do this, would you? No, of course you wouldn't. None of us would do this normally. And so when we see people act like this, it's why do you think this has 3 million views? Because you just look at it and you're like, holy crap, I can't believe what's going on.
Actually makes me feel very uncomfortable. Like, she could have done that to our neighborhood, and I wouldn't want that. Like, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't want that in your neighborhood? Of course you wouldn't. You find out your neighbor just shot up a cop station? What the fuck are you going to do? It's like, are you kidding me? When you're sitting there in your bed and you hear gunshots outside your window, and there's plenty of people who do hear that, you don't feel safe. And when all of a sudden you hear that your neighbor just went to the police station and tried to kill people, or at least, was shooting into a bulletproof glass at cops, you're kind of like, oh my God, I hope she doesn't come back.
LaPrise was placed on a suicide watch while she's behind bars. She's going to be back in court on October 17th.
Sometimes when people are on a suicide watch, you know what they put them in? They're naked underneath. They call it the green turtle suit. And basically it's a Velcroed garment, very thick, that you really can't move around a lot in, and you can't get it off. And so you can't hang yourself or do anything crazy with bed sheets or whatever.
And this incident comes nearly a year after 2 Bristol police officers were killed by a suspect while responding to a domestic disturbance. We're live outside New Britain Superior Court.
Think about that. So 2 officers were killed a year ago in response to a domestic. Domestic calls are probably the most dangerous calls that police officers get because they're heated, people don't listen, a lot of times there are weapons involved, and people don't give a shit. It's like, fuck you, you're going to leave me, I'm going to make sure that you never see your kids again. I've seen it happen. They kill everybody else and then they kill themselves. Very, very difficult for cops. So when something like this happens, the cops go, into attack mode and self-preservation mode. I will tell you this, she's not getting out. There's just no way she's getting out. And depending upon what she was high on, she may or may not have any kind of mental health defense. It didn't look to me from the video that she was targeting anybody in particular. So if she's just trying to get attention, that's one thing. If she, and she sets the gun down. So when she sets the gun down, that's when they tackle her. It's too bad the cops had to go through that because guess what? That's the kind of their home, and that's how they see it. And, they work out there, they shower there, they have their, meetings there. It's where they work, but it's also considered kind of like a sanctuary for the cops. And somebody invaded that sanctuary, and now, thank God they had bulletproof glass. It's very difficult to defend somebody like this because 2 things. One, most of the time, they're not that cooperative with you. If you remember Shabusiness, how many fucking lawyers did she have? I think she went through like 7 lawyers or something like that. She went through just a ton of lawyers. But if you have somebody, I've represented people on mental illness cases quite a bit. There was a very prominent lawyer here in town, and I had this client who was threatening to kidnap his daughter and then ransom her off because she thought people were after her. And she was really pretty, and she was not Harvard, but she was, Ivy League educated, and she was on her way to get her master's, or I think her master's in psychology, and the wheels just fell off her cart. She was adult onset paranoid schizophrenia. Don't think that that's what this is, but you never know. And so mental health is a big, huge part of our criminal justice system. So many times somebody's going through something or has some kind of mental health issue, but it doesn't meet the McNaughton test, the higher standard. It's kind of a high standard to show that you are not guilty by reason of mental illness. Everybody thinks, you just got to claim that you're not guilty because you're crazy. Doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. if you are experiencing some mental health issues, go get some help. You know, don't wait until it bursts your bubble. You know, I always told my son, whenever we're dealing with any kind of, emotional stuff, you got to pour the pop bottle out. You know, imagine your emotions are going into a pop bottle, like liquid. And if you keep filling it up, and you don't pour it out once in a while, it's going to burst. And when it bursts, glass goes everywhere, and everybody's going to get cut. And that's what happens with mental illness. If it's not dealt with on a regular basis, it explodes on something like this. It's so funny because what I do on these episodes, I kind of try to come off as funny, because I think some of this stuff is funny from a practitioner's standpoint. But as we get into the episode, I start kind of realizing, we're dealing with people, and I get a little preachy. So if I get a little preachy, it's because I give a shit, and, and I like to make you laugh, but I also like to make you care and inform you as well. So that's just what we're doing here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts with the man we call the content genius, and me, the board-certified criminal defense lawyer. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer React.
The lady with the voice, she called me a bitch.
Okay.
She called me a bitch. Well, where did she point at you? Did she point a gun at you and call you a bitch? Then you'd be justified in pointing a gun back. But if she just pointed her finger at you and was being truthful and called you a bitch, well, nothing you can do about that.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your personal board-certified criminal defense lawyer. We're back. We're back after the holiday. Hope you all had an excellent Christmas. Or Hanukkah, or whatever you celebrate. We celebrate Christmas in our household because we're Catholics, we are what we are. And but it's a fun time, and it's a great time for everybody to get together. I hope you were with your family, with your loved ones. And before we get going on today's episode, I just want to put a shout out to Dan and Liz out of Alaska. This is them. They send me a nice card, a nice holiday card, and a nice note, and I just really appreciate that. And then also we've got another nice card from somebody, Peter Masoglia. I know I'm butchering your name, but former North St. Paul resident. So I really appreciate the well wishes, and we've got other things that people have sent too, and I really, really appreciate the well wishes. We wish you all a very happy holiday season as well, and a happy New Year. Today we're reacting to a woman who is in a parking lot and brandishes a firearm. I haven't seen this, but this has been developed by our content genius, and it's through the channel Body Cam Watch. So make sure you go to Body Cam Watch, and we're going to kind of analyze it in terms of, what you can do and what you can't do with a firearm. But before we get to that, this is brought to you by eSign.com. eSign.com is a very effective way to remotely do business. I use eSign all the time, and guess who else uses it? My grandma. My grandma is in the basement. She just got popped for shoplifting a whole bunch of presents in front of people's doors. She'd follow around an Amazon truck, and once they're out of sight, she'd rip off the package. And guess what she needs now? She needs a lawyer. So what does she do? She calls the guy who's got eSign.com, because now grandma's so afraid that she's going to get arrested just going outside in the street. So what does she do? You eSign.com, you download the app, you get 3 free signatures at least a month. I think it might even be 5, but it's 3 or 5. And what you do is you sign, and you don't even have to leave the comfort of your own home, because you can just do it on grandma's stolen laptop. So eSign.com, it's a very effective way to remotely do business, because if it's not eSign, no one signs. All right, so let's get into this. Now, a lot of people have concealed carry, and a lot of people are, Second Amendment rights, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter if you have the right to carry or not. If you use a firearm, you have to use it what? Responsibly. If you point the gun at the wrong person, first of all, if you point the gun at a person, that person might have a gun too. And if that person has a gun and they shoot you, they're going to be justified. Especially because if they think that, the immediacy is really what we're talking about. But if the other person doesn't have a gun and there's really no immediate threat of serious bodily injury or death, and you pull out a firearm, this is what's going to happen to you.
On October 2, 2021, officers responded to a call about a woman waving a gun in a parking lot.
Right away, when you hear a woman waving a gun in the parking lot, guess what you think? Oh, Karen's got a gun.
Yeah, she's in the store, but I didn't want to go in there without you.
And here's the thing. Just like in a domestic, where, you know, the cops hear one side of the story, they already know who they're going to arrest. They already know they're going to arrest her.
So she hasn't left because her car's still hers.
Yeah.
Everything okay? Black female, black t-shirt, red pants, tan hat. You said red pants?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, let's see if you can see anybody with red pants.
And if you have something very identifiable like red pants, and you got your red pants on, you have your red pants, you got your red pants, you got your red pants on. I just don't understand why people do stuff like this. And then all of a sudden she goes, what? She waves your gun around, and now it's time to go shopping? I mean, you know, stupid people should not have firearms.
Hey, anybody see?
If y'all see her, don't say anything. Just give us a call. Just tell us that where she's at. Don't make any contact with her.
She's armed. Hello. Hi, how are you? Good. You don't happen to have a gun in your bag, do you?
No, sir.
Okay. You mind if I look real quick?
In my purse?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I said there's a black female with a red pants that had a gun.
Not a gun. I just come in here.
Okay, I understand that. What car do you drive?
You're not allowed.
What car do you drive?
You're not allowed.
What car do you drive?
I drive a white BMW.
White BMW. Okay. You keep eyes here.
What's she wearing? What's she wearing?
Okay.
1365 Smyrna. What is she wearing again?
There'll be a black female wearing a tan hat, I believe a black shirt and red shorts.
That looks like that's our suspect.
Hey, ma'am. I need you to stand right here for right now. Something happened outside in the parking lot.
In the parking
You're
lot.
describing your clothing.
No. You're looking at me?
Bro's already talking.
He
Yeah.
talked to me.
Hey, I understand that.
Yeah, he
I need you to
talked
stand
me.
right here. Just stand right here. She's wearing a tan hat and red shorts. Show me anybody else in this whole building that's wearing a tan hat and red
I don't
shorts.
have on a tan hat. I have on a black and white hat.
Are you going to believe me or your lying eyes? This hat is purple. I got a purple hat on.
When people are in traumatic situations, they don't always describe it perfectly.
Yeah, but I haven't done anything. I just came in.
That's
here
why.
and stuff
That's
like
why you're not in handcuffs. Because I don't know that you've done anything either. I just know that something just happened out there, and they said that the person walked into Best Buy. They described him as a black female wearing a tan hat and red shorts.
Yes, sir.
You were the closest person.
Now, she's already on record saying she didn't have a firearm in her purse. Now, if you have a firearm, in certain circumstances, it's legal to open carry in certain states. There's some Supreme Court opinions that are really eviscerating some of the gun laws. And it's being interpreted very liberally in terms of, what you're allowed to do. But you can't just willy-nilly just take a gun and point it at somebody because they're doing something you don't like.
That's that description. Yeah, and that's why I'm just saying, just for the time being, just stand right here.
We're about to go back outside. Talk.
that. Make me use the bathroom by myself.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm a diabetic.
I don't mean to frighten you, so I apologize.
I'm a diabetic. So.
And it's very common when people are called on the carpet for something, and all of a sudden they've got a medical condition. And now that can I go to the bathroom, get rid of this firearm? I need to tuck it up and
I'm about to poop on myself.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. I don't mean to startle you.
She certainly wasn't on the way to the bathroom before he started talking to her, but now all of a sudden she's diabetic and she's got to pee.
That's why I wanted to explain what's going on. basically somebody just pointed a gun at somebody in the parking lot. The other person who got the gun pointed, she's standing out there.
Okay.
And she said, the lady who pointed a gun at me is a black female wearing red shorts and a tan hat.
No, baby. Mm-mm. Could you hold? I gotta use the bathroom so bad.
Okay, so you just want to walk up here to the front, and I'll figure out if it was you. If not, I'll let you go.
Let
So.
me use the restroom because I'm about to.
Well, I can't let you go in there.
About to poop myself. Funny how she just it wasn't even on her mind to go to the restroom when before the cops.
So I explained the situation, so I just need you to walk up here to the front. If I can determine it's not you, then.
You know, whenever you're dealing with anything in retail, not only, I mean, look at that, how good the quality of the camera is. It used to be that, you know, the quality is shit. But now, you know, the cameras that they have in Best Buy, I'm sure they have it all on video. But the cameras, you know, the body-worn cameras and the cameras that are in almost all retail, it's just really high quality these days. So it's not like the old grainy images that they had yesterday. And not only that, when you're at the register, time, date, amount, they know exactly, everything's on the computer. So you talk about not being able to get away with crimes in retail these days.
Black shirt. Just walk up here to the front. Hey, where's the victim at? Okay. Well, we're gonna walk outside. She's gonna tell me if it's her. Will you just walk right out the front door?
Walk out the front door.
Yes, ma'am.
If you want, I know you haven't paid for those. You can put them down.
Yeah.
They call this a show up. And sometimes it can be unduly suggestive, but, you know, when you have a lineup, for example, you know, where they put a bunch of different people and then they have the suspect, you know, mixed in with cops or whatever, it can't be unduly suggestive. But this is what they call a show up.
Possible suspect. You just have the victim tell us if it's her or not.
Hey, have you seen a black female with a tan hat and red pants? All right, thanks for the help, Chip. Hello, you somebody inside?
Ma'am, right over here. Right over here.
Confirming it is her.
That's what we talking about. She's in that little car. Yup.
The gun is probably in the car.
Yeah, for they're saying that's her.
Somebody walked in front of me. In the car, but I never had an encounter with anybody.
Okay, so did you have a weapon on you by any chance or anything?
No, sir.
Or anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Do you have a firearm in your purse?
No, sir.
Do you mind if this officer looks inside your purse?
I don't want them looking in my purse when there's no reason to look in my purse.
Well,
I know my
reason-
rights.
I get you.
understand
That's
that.
fine. That's fine. We're not
Yeah,
arguing.
baby, I know my
Okay.
rights. I'm
Well,
not,
at this point, you're an investigator.
So you have a reasonable expectation of privacy in your things, right? But they've got a report of a gun. They've got to, you know, they can arrest her. And how are they going to search her purse? They need a warrant? No, not necessarily. They can do what they call an inventory search.
Before you hold right now.
What's that?
It means you're basically being detained. So you're not free to leave. And I'm removing this purse from you. I'm not looking in it.
Relax,
And you're being
I'm
investigated.
being detained.
Just
I'm removing this purse
just
from
like you
you.
say you know your rights.
You know, they walked you out of the fucking store. How do you not know that you're being detained already? I mean, moron, your bus is leaving.
We're giving you the right to tell you what we're
And I'm
what's
gonna
going
talk
on.
to you. I'm taking the.
Ma'am, no,
I'm removing the purse from you.
Why?
You know, that often happens when people are stunned by police. They often do this. You know, they have some kind of immediate shaking going on to kind of fake some kind of illness.
We're
I'm
not
just
making
removing
anything
this
ridiculous.
purse.
I'm
Do
not.
not reach in your purse. You
I'm
just
moving
reached
my
in your
bag.
purse.
I got the arm.
No, don't reach in your purse. That's it. That's it.
Put it on, bring
That's
it
it.
on.
That's it.
Calm down.
Hey, you want to put it in front of my body?
Okay, you're being detained until we figure out anything further. Because somebody said,
That lady pointed at me and I didn't do anything to
that's
her.
locked, damn it. You said she pointed at you?
Yes, sir. She pointed something at me.
Who did?
And the lady with the gun, she called me a bitch.
Okay.
She called me a bitch. Well, where did she point at you? Did she point a gun at you and call you a bitch? Then you'd be justified in pointing a gun back. But if she just pointed her finger at you and was being truthful and called you a bitch, well, nothing you can do about that. I mean, you can't all of a sudden just point a fucking gun at somebody just because you're displeased with how they are dealing with you in the parking lot. This is a word from our sponsor. our sponsor, Step One. Step One is high-performance underwear that's made from a viscose fabric that's derived from organic bamboo. Keep in mind, now I'm an active guy. I just got done skiing 60 miles an hour down the Grand Tetons in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And while I'm doing that, what am I wearing? I'm wearing my Step Ones. Step One is got the Lycra panel, so you don't chafe, you don't sweat. You don't even know you're wearing them. They're so comfortable. But they keep everything with a nice pouch and everything's keep your goods right where they need to be. Order these for your sweetheart. You put in my name, Bruce Rivers, at checkout. You'll get a 25% discount. And this is a no-risk proposition to you guys because if you buy them and you're not super satisfied within 30 days, you'll get all your money back. But that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to be on the regular with these because Step One, get some.
She told me this, but I didn't argue with her. I was driving on through.
Where's your white BMW?
Is it this third car on the right here?
I can't get that damn thing to let go. There we go. I agree. So listen, the best thing to do is just listen and follow instructions, and then everything goes okay, right? Because if somebody claims something outrageous and they're the one who's causing the problem, we don't know that until we get here and find out, right?
Yes, sir.
So just let us find out and then we'll be good to go from there.
So now in your purse, you've got a reasonable expectation of privacy, right? In your automobile, you have a very limited reasonable expectation of privacy. In your home, that's where you have the greatest expectation of privacy. But the automobile is a mobile thing, and you don't have the same expectation of privacy in your automobile. And do you think they have enough here, reasonable articulable suspicion, to suspect that she had committed a crime, and the crime's a felony? So now would they have enough to search your vehicle? In all likelihood, yes.
No, I'm not saying that you're arguing with us. We're just going to have a seat in his car until we get everything figured out, okay? You're not going to jail or anything right now until we figure out a little bit further, but you are being detained.
Now that she's in handcuffs, any further statement that they try to elicit out of her has to be covered by Miranda. Otherwise, guess what? It's thrown out.
Because you matched the description we were doing, okay?
Can you describe what the gun looked like?
It was probably about this big, black.
Black?
And she did like this.
Did it look like a revolver or like...
All right, she did like this. If she just held it up like that, that may not be enough.
A normal modern type pistol, like a semi-automatic type pistol?
It was it was one of the thick ones. I'm not sure.
Did it look like similar to what police carry? Or did it look like...
Yeah, smaller than that, yeah.
So I'm going to take a peek here, because this is allegedly hers, right? The one that they said was a red Scion, or the one he was out with, right? A red vehicle of some sort. But she said white BMW. You see a white BMW anywhere?
And y'all were walking across the...
We had already walked across the street.
We already had walked across.
I guess she thought y'all were in her way.
It seemed like she didn't want to stop while we were walking to get to the Chinese place. Yeah, right here. She stopped the car. If she stopped it and said, "Did you call me a bitch?" I said, "Yes, I did." And she said, "Well, you the one that bitch and this and that." I said, "I'm a good one," and we walked on in.
And the girl did like this.
She was waving it?
I saw the gun.
At any point, did she point it towards you?
She waved it like...
Like, waved it towards you?
Yeah, like this. Just letting us know that she had the gun, yeah.
So right now, you're going to be placed under arrest for obstruction, okay? That means...
Obstruction is a little weak. I mean, I don't know what she did. I mean, what did she do? I mean, she stiffened up a little bit, and, I don't know if she tried to really get into her purse or not, but the obstruction seems a little bit weak.
You didn't follow lawful commands when we're telling you not to tense up, not to go in your purse, not to pull away. You lied about the vehicle you were in originally. You lied about being in an altercation with somebody outside originally. So we've got a bunch of false statements and obstruction. So 1407 11015.
I wasn't pulling away from you guys.
Like I explained earlier, okay?
I didn't pull.
Okay. And then when you were told not to reach in your purse, you immediately tried to reach in your purse.
No, I was trying to drop, look, I was trying to drop my keys and tell y'all that I had rights. It was not reaching in my purse to get anything.
Okay.
I was dropping the keys in there. I didn't do it.
Before we keep talking, let me explain these to you. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will. You understand each of these rights as I've explained them to you.
I understand, but I'll go Can I call somebody? I don't.
Not at this second. Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us now? I know you've already started explaining the situation, but...
I don't have anything.
Will you give me consent to search your car?
Search the car?
Uh-huh.
That's his car.
So there's a couple ways you get around the warrant requirement. Because, warrantless searches are per se illegal, right? But, number one, she's being arrested. And she's being arrested for obstruction. Okay, so they take her purse into custody. So one of the things you can do is an inventory search. And they're going to probably tow her car. So you can do an inventory search of the car and the purse. And what that basically does is just you inventory everything in it so you know what she had. So when she leaves, she can't say, I had $5,000 in my purse. And then the other thing is, and if you find anything, any contraband in furtherance of a inventory search, that's fair game.
So?
My son's car.
What does that have to do with anything?
This is his car.
Okay. It's up to you, yes or no?
No, I just want to tell him to come and get his car.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Well, we'll have to deal with that later, and in the meantime, if the business wants it towed from that spot because you're in a curbside pickup, then they can tow it. Come with me, we'll go right to my car.
Well, let me leave my stuff there so he can get it.
What stuff?
So he can
Get what?
get my money and my sister's
This is all
stuff.
going with you because it is your property, and I have to search it before we go.
Well, that's the other thing. You have to search it because if you put it in the back of your squad or in your squad and all of a sudden something falls out and there were drugs or other contraband in there, it's got to be explained. So it's better to do it ahead of time to make sure that, there's nothing in there that's going to be blamed on the officer later.
Okay, we're not playing that game.
So, what are you doing?
Right now, you're going to sit in the back of my car so I can transport you when we're ready to do that.
Why?
Because you're going to jail because you're under arrest. So we very quickly tried to say that this is her sister's property and purse. Oh, look. A Glock.
Now, remember, she's on record very early on saying, I don't have a gun in my purse. She'd have been better off, not saying anything to the officer. But, so now she's got this pistol in her purse. Now, is she eligible to possess a firearm? Is it legal for her to carry it the way she's carrying it? Assaulting somebody with a firearm, all you have to do is brandish it, and that's assault. Assault is the imminent apprehension of bodily harm. And so, this gal's not doing herself any favors.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Making sure that he took the magazine out and he also rocked the slide to make sure that there isn't one in the chamber. Made the gun basically safe.
1407, check a serial on a 69. Wow, that's an X-Acto knife. That would have sucked to get cut by. Actually, probably would have been a lot nicer than some rusty dull blade. Hannah Montana? Well, there's keys to the Scion. She has keys to the Scion. It's her son's Scion. Do you think he really likes Hannah Montana?
My son, has all kinds of Hannah Montana memorabilia. No, he doesn't. But, lying about all this stuff doesn't help her at all.
I think we're full of it. Okay. So do we want to be truthful yet?
What do you mean, do I want to be truthful?
Well, the gun is in your purse.
What? There wasn't any gun in my purse. You put that gun in my purse.
Patricia's not your name.
Oh, another crime. Falsely identifying yourself to the cops.
So now you're getting false statement and aggravated assault charges.
Aggravated assault on who?
Yes, ma'am. And then there's...
Pull your camera over there and see that I aggravated assault her.
Okay. So there's also... Okay, also identity theft.
So, This just never ceases to amaze me. If you're a felon, guess what's your kryptonite? A firearm's your kryptonite. Because most places have a 5-year mandatory minimum prison sentence, and so she was charged with aggravated assault, possession of a firearm by a felon, and obstruction. Well, obstruction, who gives a shit about that? But what you have here is basically, a woman who's not eligible to possess a fucking firearm acting out with one.
And possibly illegal use of credit because this is not you. Okay. God bless it. Oh my God. Maria Brown, 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 Maria Brown. Cracker Barrel.
So, and a lot of times people have other people's information with their names on a credit card. And that's really, really common. And that kind of looks like what she was doing there. So, if you're thinking about getting a concealed carry, let me just tell you, if you spent more time thinking about the positions that you don't want to be in and avoiding those kind of situations, you're better off than having a concealed carry. Concealed carry gives you a false sense of security, I think. If you have a job or a high risk, life that you need one, I get it. But if you're just some average Joe, the average Joe doesn't necessarily need a concealed carry. Look what she just did by having that weapon, and then she didn't have a concealed carry because she was a felon. But look what her having that firearm did for her. She's like, oh, I've got a gun. What was that all over? That was all over just a pissing match between two sets of ladies. It made no sense for her to go down like that. But if it weren't for stupid decisions, drugs and alcohol, I wouldn't have a job. So thank you for your dumb decisions. So, and keep in mind, when I talk about concealed carry, I go by what I see. You know what I mean? I go by people who make dumb decisions like this. And now I'm painting it with a broad brush, generally speaking. Most people who are NRA members, who are, concealed carry, Second Amendment people, generally speaking, they're, it's like most cops. Most cops are decent people, are, follow the law. But, you get stragglers out there. And what I see in my profession is I see people misusing firearms. I see them misusing their concealed carry. It's invalidated if you're intoxicated. So, if you go to the bar, you shouldn't be bringing your gun with you. Anyway, just dumb. And now she's looking at fucking prison time because of a stupid interaction she had by somebody just called you a bitch. You couldn't just turn the cheek and just keep going. When you probably got in their way to begin with and almost ran them over. And maybe you are a bitch, but maybe you just should have just kept going. Guess what? If you would have just kept going, nobody would have said anything. But you had to show your gun out. It just dumb. Anyway, so this was our reaction. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and sign up for Patreon, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. And do me a favor, make good decisions. Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, a board-certified criminal defense lawyer, fresh off of a victory. Last week we were in trial. Now, are we here to react to that today? No. What are we talking about? We're talking about Ezra Miller, lead of the Flash series, the latest installment of the Flash series, and a $200 million blockbuster. And then that's going to be released in 2023. But he is under some scrutiny for some sketchy shit. He has been arrested twice in the past and accused of multiple instances of physical assault as well as brainwashing an 18-year-old activist, Gibson, formerly Takata, Iron Eyes, and keeping them from her parents. On Wednesday, another allegation surfaced after a courthouse issued a temporary harassment prevention order against Miller on behalf of the mother and her 12-year-old child. So you can get a harassment restraining order against somebody if you can prove that further involvement with them, or if there's a past involvement that involves an infringement on safety, security, or privacy, or any kind of assault or sexual assault. And that's what this mother did, and she got it on behalf of her 12-year-old child. So now Miller himself has not publicly commented on this stuff. Law enforcement is apparently reportedly unable to find the actor and serve him with a protective order. Sarah Jumping Eagle and Chase Iron Eyes, the parents of Takata, after reportedly posting memes that seem to be mocking the police in their search, Miller deleted their Instagram account. A hearing and the same is reportedly scheduled for July 12th. Here's the thing. Even if you can't find the person that you're trying to protect your child against, you can, because the order doesn't really become effective until it's served, right? Because you have to have notice of the order. But even if you can't find them, you can serve them by publication. And in other words, you can file something in a legal publication, and then you have a hearing and say, we've met all the requirements, and then it becomes effective whether you know about it or not. But I guarantee he knows about it. He's been accused of assault before, of violence surrounding Miller since April 2020. So here's the thing. Your 18-year-old child is missing. Your 18-year-old child is missing. Wouldn't you just go apeshit? You would absolutely go crazy. Because I remember a few times when my son decided to go on a road trip that he didn't ask for permission, and he was young like that, and you don't know what's happening. You're just, and so there was an Instagram post, and we'll put it up here in a second. I'd like to make a statement to acknowledge the tragedy that is the narrative of the general public and assumptions made on my behalf by my family and friends regarding my stability and otherwise. I dropped out of BARD 5 months ago. My friend and comrade William passed shortly thereafter. My mind was incredibly impacted, and I've needed space and time for the processing of grief. My comrade, Ezra Miller, for the entirety of the aforementioned, I'm sure she used that word, aforementioned, era, has only provided loving support and invaluable protection throughout this period of loss. Now, here's the thing. 18-year-olds tend to be a little flaky anyway. And if she's there against her will, then it's kidnapping, clear and simple. But let's watch this. She released a video, and I'll react to this on the other side.
Hi, guys. Hi, folks. I've become aware.
Now, she keeps looking off to the right as though she's looking at somebody. And I guarantee you law enforcement is looking at that.
That some people are saying that my statements were not written by me. I'd like to clarify that they are, in fact, directly from me.
Yeah, see, they are directly written by me. And she looks. I might be reading more into that than it. But here's the other thing. Well, I am not a computer expert, but the metadata from a video that's uploaded should contain time, place, and location, and the IP address, I would think, of where this was filmed.
Nobody is controlling my Instagram account. I don't have a phone right now out of my own personal conviction. And honestly, it's really distressing that the narrative of the victim.
I mean, here's the thing. She is 18. An 18, you're a legal adult. You're entitled to go wherever you want and do whatever you want. So to the extent he's ever charged with anything later, this video would be the first piece of evidence that they would try to use to get rid of this case because it shows consent. For all islands, that would be true. But bullshit. You've got parents are owed a fucking story. Are you kidding me? The parents are going crazy about the welfare of their daughter. And understandably so. And so if Mr. Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board certified criminal defense lawyer. And today we're reacting to a little bit of news about 6ix9ine. I've kind of stayed away from reporting anything about 6ix9ine. Can't ignore what's in the news and some other funny stuff that's in the news. But before we get to that, let's say you are in the hospital and you need to sign a record contract because you just got your ass beat. Well, you go to esign.com, which is an effective way to remotely sign documents when you're sitting in a hospital because you got your ass beat because you're a snitch. That could happen. And so you go to esign.com, you download the app, you get 3 free signatures a month, you can do your business, boom, 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 and then you convalesce in the nursing facility because you're a snitch. And so, but here's the thing, I use it all the time. esign.com is a very effective way to remotely do business. When I have a client that can't come to the office, I always use esign.com to sign retainers. You use it, I use it. It's an effective way to remotely do business. So we're reacting to a little bit of news, and I'm going to get to the video in a second. We may get restricted on this because it's a little bit of violence, but it's not really. The video actually isn't that bad. But let's just talk about who Daniel Hernandez is. Daniel Hernandez is Tekashi 6ix9ine. He's a rapper who sort of ripped off a couple of guys a while back, Zilla Kame and Sosmula, which is now City Morgue. Zilla Kame is a very, very prolific and decent artist, and he's very smart the way he writes. And they have a very different, distinct style. Well, Tekashi 6ix9ine, or Daniel Hernandez, let's just call him Daniel Hernandez. Daniel Hernandez stole their equipment and stole their style, and he did a video where he had a minor performing sex acts in the video. He pled guilty to 1 felony count of the use of a minor in a pornographic work, basically in a sexual work. He got 4 years probation. He got kidnapped in 2018, and they pistol whipped him. They took $750,000 worth of jewelry, $35,000 in cash. Then there was this RICO case. 6ix9ine wound up snitching on the other guys in this group, and he got out early. So he is known, absolutely known, to be a snitch. And what do we say about snitching? I mean, we can just take the self out of here and we can say stop snitching. Because, here's the thing. You really don't get that much for snitching these days. He got his ass kicked at an LA Fitness. Before we get to the video, I think the rap community and the public in general is kind of split on Mr. Hernandez. Some people think he may have been justified by snitching on the people who did what they did to him, and they had sex with his girlfriend. I don't know if it was right in front of him or what, but they used him, but he also used their clout as as like he's a badass gangster, which he's not at all. And the problem, that you have, okay, you're snitching on people who really screwed you over. They used them to funnel drugs through. They used him, in a number of ways because he that's one of the things. Remember I told you, like, celebrities or people who have money can oftentimes be a target. If you were labeled a snitch, you're a freaking snitch. And if you're a snitch, you can get your ass beat. I don't care if it's loyal or not. So let's take a look at what happened to him.
That's how they supposed to treat you. Go ahead. Take a picture. Go ahead. Take a picture. I want to be famous now. I want to be famous.
First of all, you're snitching on yourself when you record this and then put it on social media. I'm not sure if they posted this or not, but it certainly looks like they did because it says, "King shit, we caught 6ix9ine slipping. Fuck a rat. ADR, probably another dead rat. Not in our hood." So you develop a reputation as a snitch. This is the kind of stuff that can actually happen to you. I mean, it's real. It isn't fake. And not everybody, not everybody is sympathetic to 6ix9ine. So Boozy posts on on Twitter, laughing my ass off. Snitches get stitches. Let's start a GoFundMe, a GoFund for this guy at 100. I'm not going to say that I really advocate for that because, and then he also posted later on, we need to go start a GoFund for this guy. We got to start rewarding the real ones. You got to be careful when you do that because if Boozie's encouraging people to do violence to other people, that could be a problem. I mean, so here's the deal. And I think I reacted to something a while back about 6ix9ine, and I think I said something to the effect that how the hell can he can go out, without security? I mean, he can afford it, and look what happens. Not in our hood, they said, and there is a certain code, and that is you don't snitch. Period. You do not snitch. And so the problem that I have with 6ix9ine in general, or Mr. Hernandez, we'll call him Hernandez, you're all hat and no cattle. You pretend like you're this gangster. You want to rip off that culture and be outrageous to get clout, so you get followers. If you look at somebody like NBA YoungBoy, now he's been really good while he's been on supervision. But prior to that, he had been just an absolute wild card. You run into a real danger when you start stealing people's clout. You sit there and you spout off this bullshit. You can expect that people are going to think that you're not authentic, and they're going to take you on. Take for example, look at him here pretending he's just strolling around O Block.
O Block right here. I should call this shit no block. It's 10 o'clock. Where the fuck y'all niggas at? Niggas ain't outside. It's only 10 p.m. Where the fuck y'all niggas at, blood? O Block right here. This what y'all wanted me in Chicago?
Okay, it wasn't 10 p.m. It was like 2 or 3 a.m. when everybody's asleep.
O Block right here. I should call this shit no block. It's 10 o'clock. Where the fuck y'all niggas at?
I'd like to see him call it no block while some of the OGs are right there in front of him. Wouldn't happen. And so when you're this bombastic kind of all talk, and it's just, you can do that behind a computer screen. Take a look at this clip. I mean, we got all these clips, and you wonder why you get your fucking ass kicked when you are out in public.
Stop bringing this. Yo, you talk by yourself, right? Bro.
I mean, first of all, he shows him a firearm, and he seems pretty relaxed about doing it. Anybody that's relaxed, on a weapon with an extended mag, I just would stay clear. But he's talking. Just watch.
That shit away, cause when you sit it on yourself, you didn't pull that out. Man, I don't want to hear that shit. You sit it on yourself, you didn't pull that out. Hey, you too internet, bro. No, listen.
That's exactly right. You're too internet.
When you sit it on yourself, why didn't you do this? Look, fuck that. Why didn't you pull that gun out when you sit it on yourself? Internet, shorty. You ain't even in the hood for shit to happen to you, shorty. That's count, man. Yo, bro, that's too internet, bro. Bro, I'm in every club, huh? That's too internet, bro. Yo, look, that's too internet, shorty. Look. And take it from a nigga, no IG.
Anyway, I can't watch a whole lot more of that. I mean, he is about 4'2", and but with a mouth that he thinks he's like 6'5", and that's a problem. That's a real problem for guys who are like Mr. Hernandez. And as a result, you go into the wrong place at the wrong time and you meet the wrong people. You are at risk. He's at risk. I mean, look at how Boozy reacted to him. He's like, let's reward the people. I mean, and it puts a target on your back. You don't have to be unnecessarily antagonistic. And I think he thinks he needs to be that character in order to sustain his cred, but he doesn't have any cred. He's got a sex offense, and he had a RICO case and he got out of it because he snitched. Period. But then you take that, and instead of being low profile, he's this guy. So this is when he went live with Lil Reese. But he's created this image of himself, and he's for nothing getting in these fights. And he's saying King Von can rest in piss. Who says that kind of stuff? People who want to get into some kind of scuffle, some kind of beef with somebody else, so you can put it all over the internet, But there are consequences to that, especially when you are dealing with gang life. Absolutely, there are consequences because they don't take it lightly. And that's why you stay out of the clubs, stay out of the way of people with guns, and build your life. Don't be like this guy. So, I mean, he's got plenty of money. There's no question about it. I mean, they pulled his hair. They punched him. He went to the hospital. Hard to find out exactly where his scars are amongst his tattoos, but you can kind of see he's been beat down pretty good. And and if you are a snitch, keep a low mother flipping profile. But it's hard to keep a low profile when you are, a rapper who rips people off. So this has just been our reaction to the beatdown of Daniel Hernandez, and I don't wish him harm, and I'm not advocating for any of you guys to take revenge on somebody who is snitched. But if you think somebody's a snitch, stay far, far, far away from them. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and sign up for Patreon. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.